Welcome to this flow for hips. Start sitting out in a comfortable cross-legged position. Lengthen your spine and then feel your sits bones under your hips, so the bottom of your hip bones on the ground. And lean forward and back and feel that rocking on the bottom of your hip bones. And so notice how when you rock backward or you hunch, you're on your sacrum. So we don't want that. You want to lengthen your spine and hinge forward a little bit. Straight spine, soften your shoulders down, close your eyes to center. Beginning your Ujjayi breath. Dropping your awareness into those hip points that you were just rocking on. Feel the ground underneath them. And as you inhale, can you inhale down your spine all the way to your tailbone and into your hips, into your whole pelvic bowl. And as you exhale, feel that breath coming up. Maybe visualize or use your felt senses for it to come up your spine and out your nose. Inhale down your spine all the way to your hips, filling your pelvic bowl. Exhale, release it. And as you breathe in this way, can you use your pranayama to wash away any tension or stuck energy or tightness in your pelvic bowl, washing it away with your breath. Letting go of that breath now, using your regular Ujjayi breath. Bring your left hand to the ground, to your side. Lift your right hand either onto your shoulder, your head, or overhead and take a side body stretch. Taking that hand, stretching it actively out as you rainbow over to the other side. Stretching that hand out actively, coming back to center, coming into cobbler pose, soles of your feet together, knees butterflied out. Again, you're going to hinge your belly button forward, lengthen your spine until you feel your sits bones under your hips. So you're not on your sacrum. And then maybe you tilt forward with a straight spine, bringing your fingertips onto the ground and taking your heart forward. So you're not hunching in any way here. Your spine is lengthening and you're tilting your pelvis forward, getting a deep hip opening here, lengthening your spine, feeling your inner thighs, walking your hands back, making your way into table pose, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Moving through just a couple of rounds of cat and cow. So inhale, drop your belly, lift your head, lengthen your spine. And then from your sacrum, drop that tailbone and then let that slowly roll up your spine, and your head is the last thing to drop. And then take your tailbone to the ceiling, tilting your hips down, and let that roll up your body, letting your head be the last thing to lift. Inhale. So the cat and cow is starting from your sacrum as you slowly roll it forward, and just play with this, moving on your breath. Now we're going to take our knees out about mat width apart, whatever feels right for you. And we're going to do cat and cow in the same way. So starting from your sacrum, drop your tailbone, lift your belly, let that roll continue till your head drops. And then tilt your pelvis forward, lift your tailbone to the ceiling, arch your spine, let that unfurl all the way to your head. And just keep moving through cat and cow with your knees wide. One more round. Now bringing your toes together, keeping your knees wide. We're just going to do some barrel rolls, warming up the hips. Switching direction. And then sitting back on your heels here. Actively walk your arms out. Stay onto your fingertips as you would in puppy. Elbows are off the ground. And then sink your forehead to the mat here. Sinking your hips back over your feet. Maybe dropping your heart, maybe dropping your chin. And then again, from your sacrum, hunch up and slowly come back up to a neutral spine. Make your way into downward facing dog. Walking the dog here. So now push through the balls of your feet, lifting your heels. You're just playing with that, and your legs can be soft here, but your arms are strong. And next time you lift your heels, let that be the impetus to roll your body forward into plank. And then drop your awareness into your hands, push through the mat and roll back to down dog, trying to isolate those little segments of your spine as you roll between plank and down dog at your own pace. And now next time you come to plank, stay there and then bend your knees and let them hover over the mat. And then slowly take your hips back, keeping your knees bent, your hips are back and your arms are straight. You're pushing through your hands. Your spine is straight, your arms are straight, and your knees are deeply bent. And then straighten them out. We're going to do that again. Roll forward into plank. Bend your knees, take your hips back, arch your stomach a little bit, stick your hips high, and then slowly straighten them out, down dog. One last time. Good things come in threes. Rolling forward into plank. Bend your knees, hover them, don't let them touch the ground. Tilt your pelvis, tilt your tailbone up, drop your belly, and downward dog. Beautiful. We're going to inhale the right leg high, three-legged dog. And then bend that knee. Lift the knee up and over so you're opening up the hips, stacking the hips. That right foot falls down to the outside of your left leg. Keep your arms straight and keep dropping your heart forward towards your knees. Your arms are straight and equal. And then you're going to take that knee out wide to the side. So don't drop the knee. Keep the knee lifted as you bring it forward towards your ribs, and then bring it down under your torso across to your left elbow. Hovering here, core engaged. And then again, take that knee out wide, opening it up to the side, coming out to the side. As you take it back over, stacking the hips, letting that right foot drop behind your left leg. So your knee is high to the ceiling here. And we're going to do that 2 more times, taking the knee out wide to the side as you then scoop it underneath and across your body to the left elbow. And then take it up and open that hip wide as you take that knee up and drop the foot behind you. That knee is bent. One last time, taking it to the opposite elbow, taking it up, and you're opening up that hip as you drop it back. So we're going to do that one last time, but this time you're going to take that knee to the center, knee to nose, cheetah. Take that foot forward and rise into crescent, softening your hips down, getting that deep stretch in the iliopsoas. Opening it up, warrior two, dropping that back heel down. Extended side angle. Push through the feet equally. From here, look to the ground and bring that left hand to the ground inside of your front foot. Lift the back heel off the ground. Come into a revolved side angle. Exhale that hand down to the inside of the front foot. Lizard your version. Maybe you want to rock forward and back or side to side. Maybe you lower the back knee. Come onto your wrists. Come onto your elbows. Use a prop to come onto your elbows. Getting a deep stretch in your hips here. And now from here, take your hips back, lift the toes on your front foot, fold over that front leg. Walking your hands forward either side of your front foot, tuck the toes on your back foot, lift your hips, and step back to plank. Exhale, chaturanga all the way to the ground. Tops of your feet on the mat. Inhale, cobra or baby cobra. Pushing back through your knees, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Now we're going to do the other side. So inhale your left leg high, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, stack the hips. So you're opening your hips up to the side, but your arms remain straight here. And then you're going to take that hip and you're going to rotate the hip forward. So you're pulling that knee forward, but the knee stays lifted high. So it's not dropping down, it's lifted high. And then when you get that knee high toward your waist, you're going to bring it under and across to the opposite shoulder. From here, you chung forward into plank and take that knee to your right elbow. And then from there, as you take your hips back, you open that knee back out to the side, open it up as high as you can. Let that foot drop behind your body. So you're really opening the front of that left hip.
And the muscular energy of holding that knee as you take that knee forward, but don't let it drop. The muscular energy of that inner thigh and that hip, bringing it down underneath to the opposite shoulder, taking it back up, opening it up to the side and out, opening those hips. One more time, taking it forward, down across your body, up, side, over. This time you're going to step it through to cheetah. So hold cheetah, knee to nose, step that foot through. Find your high crescent. Softening your hips down. Open it up, warrior two. Extended side angle. Look to the ground, and that is where your left hand touches as you lift your back heel and slowly twist toward that front knee for a revolved side angle. Exhale that hand down to the inside of your front foot for your version of lizard. You can keep that back knee off the ground. You can lower it. Your knee can splay out to the side. From here, you're going to take a hand on the outside of that front foot, take your hips back, lift the toes on that front foot, fold forward. Getting a stretch in the back of the front leg. Keep your hips square here. Walking your hands forward either side of that front foot, tuck the toes on the back foot, lift your hips to make space to step this front foot back to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Take your time here. And exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to do that same roll we did in the beginning. So lifting your heels, rolling forward into plank. Bending your knees, dropping your hips forward, lifting your tailbone up to the sky. Straightening your legs, down dog. Chunging forward into plank. Option, if up dog is in your practice, to drop your hips, flip your feet. Up dog or plank, whatever works. Rolling back to down dog. Bend the knees, tilt your pelvis, stick your hips up. Rolling forward into plank. Option to drop into up dog. Down dog. Bend your knees, stick your hips out, and down dog. Inhale the right leg high, bend the knee, open up the hips. Exhale that foot forward between your hands, rising into crescent. Grounding into that front foot, you're going to take your arms wide. Now you can either hinge forward and stay here, or you can lift that back foot and come into airplane. Take that lifted foot, slowly come to standing one-legged mountain. Open up that hip. So externally rotate the hip, taking the knee out to the side. That foot goes in front of the knee of your standing leg. Sit down for standing figure 4. Hands in prayer, elbows on the inside of the knee and the ankle. Alternatively, your hands can be on the ground. You can hold a wall for balance. Deep hip stretch. So really bend down and sit into that figure 4. If the arm balance would feel good to you, your hands are flat on the mat. You bend that standing leg and you bend your elbows, resting the front of your knee and the front of your ankle on your arms, and then lift that back foot. Or you're staying in standing figure 4. Slowly come through one-legged mountain. Option to take that foot to the ground, or keep it off the ground as you stretch it behind you, lower your hands to the ground, standing split. Now, if you have a wall in your space, it can be a nice idea to stretch that foot up the wall to open up your hips a little bit more. And then slowly releasing that down. Feet are a little bit apart. Toes turn out slightly. You're going to drop your hips and find Malasana. Elbows on the inside of your knees. Start with your fingertips under your chin, then pull that prayer down the midline until your thumbs are touching your heart. Lengthen your spine. Close your eyes, breathing into your hips. Maybe you want to do that same breath we began with, inhaling through your nose, down your spine to your tailbone, filling your whole pelvic bowl. Exhaling, taking out any tension, anything that is ready to be released as you're creating this space in your body. Bringing your hands down, and you're still facing forward on your mat. You're going to weight into your hands and then straighten your legs for a forward fold. What do you want to do here? Do you want to ragdoll with your hands in your elbows? Do you want to clasp your hands behind your back? Or bend your elbows behind your back and clasp your forearms? Perhaps you want to do gorilla by stepping on your hands. Lots of ways to go here, lots of choices. What would feel good to you today? Maybe you're just letting your hands drop to the floor. Now look to the ground, place your hands palming the mat, step back to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Take your time. Finding your downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg high, bend the knee, open up the hips, stack the hips. Exhale that foot forward between your hands, rising into crescent. Taking your arms out wide, you can hinge forward and stay here. Or if you want the balance challenge, lift the back foot and find airplane. Squaring the hips. The work is in squaring the hips. So you don't let that right hip be higher than your left hip. Taking that foot behind you, lifting it up, one-legged mountain or stalk, whatever your hands want to do. Take that foot in front of the knee of your standing leg, standing figure 4. Elbows on the inside of your ankle and your knee. Sit down to get that deep hip opening here. If you're wobbling or falling, you're getting the most benefit because those balance muscles that only activate in your feet and your ankles when you fall. So they're getting a workout. Injury prevention. Option to do the hand balance here or stay in your figure 4. Remembering it's all a practice. It's not perfect. Coming up to standing, option to keep that foot lifted or step it down. Take that lifted foot up behind you as your hands come to the ground for standing split. Now remember, if you wanted to work against the wall, you take that right foot up the wall. Hands go out in front of you. Keep that grounded left leg straight. The top right leg does not need to be straight. And you can have a soft knee. You don't need to lock out the knee. In fact, you shouldn't lock out the knee. And then slowly bend that knee, bring it down, turn your toes out, find your malasana, your squat pose. Beautiful, lengthening your spine. If your heels are off the ground here, try to take your feet wider. Alternatively, if malasana is tight for your hips, and hey, you're doing a hip class and maybe your hips are tight, I'm going to give you a really delicious option. Your feet can be flat against a wall. You open your knees out wide to the side. The important thing here is that your knees are bent and your feet are directly behind your knees on the wall. So it's not up here, it's out here. It's not splits, it's malasana against the wall. Another beautiful option for malasana, if you find balance hard in malasana, is you lean against a wall and it stops you from falling back. So lots of different options there. You can also have blocks under your hips. Maybe you want to do that breath down your spine into your pelvis. Maybe you just want to feel your hips loosening. Bringing your hands out in front of you, leaning into your hands, straightening those legs for the final forward fold. What do you want to do here? Grab your ankles, ragdoll, heart opener. Maybe you want to shake your head no. Nod it yes. So now you're going to palm the mat, step back to plank, flow through your final vinyasa. Meeting me in down dog. Bending your knees, coming down. So now we're going to come into frog. So face the long edge of your mat and take your knees out wide. So you want to take your knees out as wide as you can. And then you want to hinge forward, walking your hands forward until your hips are in line with your knees. So showing you from the side here. Your hips are in line with your knees, so you're not sitting back. You don't want to sit back. Your hips are in line. This is where the work is here. So you can use a cushion to come down on is a really nice idea. And rocking forward and back can help if it's seizing a little bit. But I do recommend having both knees on the mat so you don't slip and there's a bit of padding for your knees. And we're just going to breathe here in frog. The really deep hip opening, so be gentle. Now from here, you're going to pull your knees in gently so they're touching, and then sit back on your feet and lower your head to the ground. Now slowly making your way onto your back. So we're going to do a spinal twist, lying flat on your back here. Straighten out your right leg, bend your left knee, take it across your body, tee your arms out to the side if that feels good, or keep them down. Just a gentle spinal twist. And we're almost done with the practice today. Coming through center, switching sides. And what would feel better for you next? Would it be reclined figure four as you come back to your back? You can bring your left ankle in front of your right knee, clasp behind your right thigh, or you can have your right foot against the wall. Alternatively, if pigeon would feel good because you've done a lot of hip opening, your left knee is out to the side and your right leg is straight behind. The most common thing I see people doing in pigeon is that their front knee is under their torso. You want to make sure that knee is not under your torso, but it's out to the side of your torso. So it's off to the side, so your hips are square. That's the thing you want to look out for. So it can be a really nice idea to have a cushion and place it under that front hip. So the leg that is bent, place the cushion under that. That can give you a lot more space. You can also put a bolster under the front of your entire hips is a really nice idea. But you want to make sure that your hips are square before you fold down into your pigeon. And the toes closest to your face, regardless of if you're in figure four or pigeon, pull them back just a little bit so you're not sickling that foot. You're activating the knee joint, protecting the knee. Maybe you want to do that same breath down to your pelvic bowl. And if you're in reclined figure four, you're just going to switch legs. If you're in pigeon, step back to down dog. Inhale the right leg high, exhale it forward, coming into pigeon. So your right knee is bent. If you're in reclined figure four, your right foot is in front of your left knee. Softening down into whichever pose you choose here. Hips are square. If you're in reclined figure four, it can be really nice to sort of unfurl your tailbone deeper into the ground. Taking a deep inhale, on your exhale, just release any tension from your shoulders. Let them get heavy. Slowly making your way up to sit. So an option to do your resting pose with reclined cobbler. So the soles of your feet are touching and you butterfly your knees out to the side. We've done a lot of hip work today, so this might be accessible for you. If it's not, you can take a regular Savasana, or maybe you want to have your feet up a wall. Maybe you want your resting pose to be in that supported malasana, so you're again with the hips. What would feel good for you for your final resting pose? It's going to be about a minute. Maybe you want to pause the video and turn the lights off, close your door. Whatever pose you choose, can you close your eyes now and soften into the ground? Feel the ground underneath your hips, probably feeling your sacrum, the back of your pelvis sinking into the ground. The ground reliably holding you and supporting you. Feel your forehead relax and soften. Release your jaw. Feel all of your skull and your face relax. Your shoulders relax. Drop your awareness down into your hips, your whole pelvic bowl, the sacrum, the back of your hips, your left hip, your right hip. They meet at the front at the pubic bone. And everything they hold, just rest your awareness there. Breathe in and out of that place. Your hips can hold a lot of tension or trauma. It can be nice to use your breath to breathe in, giving this place in your body some attention. Letting your body know that you can release anything you're holding there. Maybe you want to finish by sending this area in your body some loving appreciation. And of course, you can stay where you are, but if you're in Malasana on the wall and you want to come out of it, you just lie onto one side. And if you're finishing your practice now, hands in prayer, thank you for practicing with me today, friend. Namaste.